Hello, everyone, and now we're going to start a series that's going to focus on the God tier champions, revisiting them, seeing what makes them good, as well as doing some gameplay so we can try to identify the best play style for these characters. Now, first and foremost, I start with a character, I like to go ahead and I like to look at the numbers that are associated with the character, because the numbers really do tell the story of how good or bad a champion can be. And with regard to Ghost, if you notice, the critical damage and the critical rating are through the roof. They're going to be very high, and they're going to be things that you're going to want to accentuate in your play style. And as we talked about with Corvus, when you have a high critical rating, you're really trying to maximize the attack and the things that are going to extend the attack and extend that critical damage. The critical is usually the yellow numbers. Now, when looking at Ghost, she has some really powerful synergies that give her a lot of boost to her attack, a lot of boost to her special attacks, the ability to get her special attacks through. And then there's also one synergy at the bottom with Ghost that's going to basically let her take any damage and negate it if she's phased. So she can actually live through an SP3 where most champions are going to take a massive amount of damage and even die. Now, the next thing we're going to go ahead and look at is her signature ability. Her signature ability, she starts the fight phased, and when someone misses an attack, so when someone hits into it, she's going to generate a percentage of the max power for each miss, and that's based on the sig level. So the higher the sig level, the more that she will generate for power for basically free. At the beginning of a dash back, when she starts a dash back, she's going to phase for 2 seconds. When she's phased, she's basically going to be unhittable outside of a handful of characters who can avoid that mechanic. Now, what does phasing do besides just missing? Phasing will also take any debuffs that are currently on Ghost and convert them into Furies. So basically, if you play the Suicide Masteries, which is Deep Wounds and is Liquid Courage, at the start of the fight, she'll be phased. She's going to start with 2 Furies, and then every time you get tagged with a hit, or if you want to just refresh from a node that might be giving you a problem, you can just dash back, and you're going to end up having a handful of Furies, which is going to up her attack rating, and it's going to all synergize with what you want to ultimately be doing with Ghost. She also has this beautiful ability where her critical attacks can't be evaded, and she does have a lot of ways to boost her critical rating as well as her critical damage. So when she's critting and when you have those attacks, it's all synergizing to give you one really hard-hitting champion that people aren't really going to get away from. So you have a 50% chance on your heavy attack to generate a fury buff, so you're going to want to spam some heavies. On the special one, you're going to get 3 precision buffs, which is going to take up your critical rating. The 2 is going to give you cruelty buffs, which is going to take up your critical damage. And then 3, you're going to be able to convert your cruelties into a passive cruelty up to 5 stacks. So those won't be able to be nullified, those won't be able to be taken away, and those will also give you a longer duration during the fight because they're going to be indefinite. Now let's take a look at our synergies. The synergies that we're going to focus on are Ant-Man, Ghost, and Wasp. They're considered the Quantum Trinity. And the 3 of them together get automatically, just by having them on the team, get a plus 25% attack. And then you're also going to get some benefits such as 130 on your armor rating. You're also going to get 155 on your critical rating. You're also going to get through Wasp a very interesting synergy for Ghost. And that's essentially going to give you the ability to, when you're phased, launch a special attack that becomes unblockable. Now, I did add Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket to the team because both of these champions give just a flat plus 6% to attack. So that's 6 plus 6, so it's not 12, it's a little less because there are diminishing returns, but it's a pretty good bump when you're trying to buff the attack numbers. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fight Winter Soldier. Now, the first thing you notice, I paused it right here. Look at where we are. We have Suicide Masteries on, so we automatically turn those into 2 Fury charges, and you can see those as the orange 2 in the top. Now, what I really wanted to highlight with this first fight was I went into this character very cold. So I'm playing this character not having put myself in the mindset of how to play Ghost. And what I mean by that is that I recorded the same fight 2 times. The first one was a dry run, just hitting the character into this Realm of Legends Winter Soldier and seeing what happens. And then the second one was when I really stopped, thought about the Ghost playstyle, and then how to best use these abilities. Because if you notice, I'm really doing a lot of things you do with a lot of champions. I'm dexing out of the way of things. I'm blocking hits rather when I can't dexterity them. I'm not really using this champ to the highest benefit that I could have, because where Ghost excels is playing Ghost the way she was designed to be best played. So that means these hits that I'm blocking right now, I don't even want to be blocking. I only want to block when I absolutely have to or when my quantum phase is about to run out. And so you'll see that in the second video, and I'll really highlight the differences. Because if you notice, I'm dashing back, and yes, I had 2 misses, but had I kept that distance a lot closer, when I dash back, I could have had all 3, 4, 5 of those hits generating power for Ghost. So even though she's doing a great job, she's generating cruelties, she's launching these special attacks that are doing decent damage, this is not the best way to play Ghost, because what you really want to be doing is thinking about how to maximize this character's abilities and making him the best for you. So my suggestion would be, when you play Ghost, you have to really not use that dexterity mastery, not think about it, and almost act like it doesn't exist. Because when you're playing Ghost, if you really want to generate those big numbers, it's because you're getting to cheat extra power out of your signature ability. So what you should be doing is parrying, throwing a heavy, doing some of those things that are going to generate those precision, those cruelty, and then ultimately those fury buffs, which are where you're going to want to scale your damage up, and then launching large special SP2s. So realistically, some of the best ways to do this is smash that heavy, and then once you have them, phase back, let them come into you, and as they're missing, you're going to generate up to that SP2, and hopefully you can just launch right out of your phase into an unblockable SP2. And so I'm really not showcasing that very well, because when I recorded this first video, I really thought to myself I did a bad job, because even though I have 103 hits and this Winter Soldier is almost dead, I'm not really giving this character its due and showing the best way to use her. So I left this video in rather than, to say, oh, I know how to play Ghost and I'm the best player in the world, or things like that. I wanted to leave this in to say, if you're not in the right frame of mind when playing Ghost, if you're not thinking about what you're doing when you're playing Ghost, and you're not playing this champion the way that she requires you to play, you're going to get a decent result, but you're not going to get those god tier damage numbers. And this is where you find some people will start to say, oh, that champion's not so good. Well, that champion is good. It's just you didn't really understand the mechanics, or you didn't play her well because you weren't in the right frame of mind. So in this second fight, what I really want you to notice is, when I'm dashing back, I'm really consciously not trying to dex things. I'm not trying to block things. I'm literally just letting those attacks just go right through me. And as you'll notice, I'm generating more and more and more power, and I'm building to these crescendo attacks. And ultimately, this fight, despite the fact that I didn't kill her in as efficient a way that I did the first fight, I felt better about what I was showcasing with the second fight. So now we're going to get in here and we're going to really try to work this Winter Soldier. So when you have the AI, you really get 1, 2, or 3 AIs. You get an aggressive AI, which for a champion like Ghost is great, because you want them coming forward, you want them missing attacks, and you want them helping you generate power. And then the second one is going to be a mixture of an aggressive and a passive AI, and that's going to be one where it will attack and then it'll back up every now and again. And then the last will ultimately be the very defensive or passive AI, and that's the one you really have to pull out of the corner. You need to make that AI kind of interact with you. Now, if you notice already in this fight, we haven't really done as many hits, because what we're trying to do is get a better economy of our hits. So we're trying to get a better quality hit, because rather than just do any hit, we really want to make sure we're getting that fury, we're getting those cruelties, and we're going to build up to these SP2s that are going to ultimately do us a lot more damage, a lot more value. And what you're really trying to see this for is when you're getting into like Alliance War, Alliance Quest, places where you need to maximize the damage that you're going to be putting out, 6.1, 2, 3, and ultimately 4, Abyss of Legend. This champion's great for all that content, because look what she just did. She just launched into this character when she had no business doing any damage. They were just blocking, and she was able to get a massive amount of damage through. Now, the next thing I want to showcase is that thing that I just did, which is when you're in phase, you really need to pay attention to that timer, because if you don't pay attention and get a block up, you want to be missing as many hits as you can, but you might end up having a situation where you don't miss all the ones that you can. So you really want to keep an eye on that timer. Make sure you are ready and willing and able to block, because you might need to on these longer specials. Like Winter Soldier's second attack has a lot of animation. You're not going to be able to phase through all of that. So just be aware when you're fighting against other champions that have longer specials, you do want to be able to throw that block in there because you will be able to still block those last couple hits if and when your phase runs out. But if you notice my overall run, I'm feeling better because ultimately I am showing the mechanics that really make this champion amazing. The Fury, the ability to scale your attack up, the Cruelty, the ability to scale your damage rating up, and then ultimately this miss mechanic just really makes for a very easy fight if you lean into it, because it really does add a lot of utility and this ability to really get yourself out of bad situations. So that's a little bit of Ghost gameplay. You know, it's the good, the bad, and some of it was ugly. But ultimately, I felt good about the second one. I wanted to share both so that people had an idea of, if you play her the way you play every other champion, you're not going to get that good value. But when you play her the way that she would like to be played, you're going to be doing 45,000 crits, and you're going to be clearing your lane in Alliance War and Alliance Quest. Thank you very much.